What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast from RAF ESPARZA coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between the Grappling Hour and Inside BJJ. Good news, friends. We beat Craig Jones. Suck it, Australia. Yeah, that's right. USA 2, Craig Jones 0. And I say USA because I can't beat Craig Jones at jiu-jitsu, but we sure as hell as a country can. Take that, Craig. You know, I don't even know if Craig is bothered by this sort of thing because he only seems to passingly care sometimes about people, things, events. Craig Jones Invitational 2.5. Cough. He's a love him and leave him kind of guy. But he did seem to indicate that he was willing to take wagers for the USA. I didn't personally bet him because I don't have nose candy money. But I did see he was saying, I might do this or this. So listen, Craig, good game. I'm sure somewhere deep inside of you, as somebody who has loved soccer for approximately 90 minutes, it was hard, it was difficult for you. But nonetheless, as a true American, I will extend my hand and say, good game to you because we still beat you and it was so much fun because all I could think about every goal was like, oh, this sucks for Craig. Oh, I felt great. Anyway, Tim, how do you feel about beating Craig as an American who doesn't even care about soccer?
I'm stoked, Raf. I am excited. I'm big time USA. As we know, monumental birthday for the United States. It's only fitting that we should kick the Australians to the curb. Nice job. Also, listen, the Aussies made one of their own goal mistakes and scored a goal for the United States. And I believe the second goal was scored by one Alex Freeman. So I don't know if we're related or not. I'm going to have to check Ancestry.com after the show, find out. Could be a distant cousin. I'm not sure. But yeah, big win for the USA. But personally, I'm waiting for the giant soccer game to be played on the White House lawn. I think it should be the new spot for all of our sporting events. But good job, United States. And it does feel really, really good to chuck that boomerang back at Craig Jones and whack him in the head with it.
And I don't think he cares. I think he's over it. He's on to the next bender, I'm sure. But it does feel great as a pride point. You know, I have to say, I don't think the two are related. I'm not sure because there is no Craig Jones 2.5 or 3 that Australia lost in the World Cup, but I feel logically one and the same reason. And I guess while we're taking a victory lap, I love the fact that you had to point out that one of them was a goal by error, if you would. Mexico had no problem with that. And I will speak on that behalf as well, because yesterday your boy went down to Koreatown to go watch a big soccer game. And Koreatown was taken over by Mexicans. They had 2 big screens. It was packed. It was fun. And I have some friends to shout out because I don't know if people know this, but Korea has truly been kind to the Mexicans and Mexicans have been kind to Koreans. We really didn't want to face each other. So even the Korean soccer team put out a statement being like, for 90 minutes, we will be opponents, but the bond we have created with your hospitality here in Mexico will never be forgotten. And I was like, no, don't do that. No. Oh, God. Oh, I love them. Oh, no, I don't want to beat them. So much so that when we were there and there were some very nice Korean soccer fans behind me, one dude said, and I swear to God, Tim, this was the nicest sentence I've ever heard. He goes, I hope you score one and we score one and we tie. I was like, oh, you're so adorable. I don't hope that at all. But I love you, sir. And I hope you do well, but never better than Mexico. And this dude was laughing. We were in good spirits. I will say this about the city of Los Angeles, though. We're good at a lot of things. Planning sometimes is not our strong suit. So at one point, while they have beautiful interpretive dances, great culture moments, we had Koreans singing Mexican stuff, Mexicans singing Korean stuff. It was amazing. Like, we were cheering them on like parents at a recital. Like, you did that. Good job, everybody. But then they had somebody 10 minutes into the game who came out and said, there are too many people here. We need you to spread out. Now, there's a part of me that thought, how is that our fault? And if we could spread out, we would. In fact, the adorable Korean fans who were there before us got lawn chairs. And I don't think you're supposed to have lawn chairs, but I didn't care. And they kept yelling at everybody to sit down. And I looked at them like, I'm so sorry. This is not a sit down place. And I had to bargain with them. I was like, I will sit down, but then I cannot see. Do you see how that goes? And they're like, if we just spread the message 2 rows down. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Let's evangelize the sit down move. Yeah.
Come here, guy.
Great idea.
It's not going to happen. And not because I don't believe in you or your idea, or even that it's a good or a bad idea. I'm just letting you know it's not going to happen. Those people are too drunk. And I know you want to blame it on the Mexicans, but there's a whole bunch of Koreans standing up there too. So, sir, do you want to just drink this beer together? And he was like, yes. And I was like, great. So we had a good time, but we ended up leaving because I don't know why when somebody says there are too many people crowded, Tim, there's a barricade that was holding some people back that they let go down. And suddenly I was more crowded. And there's a dude who was not behind me before who I look at and I go, whoa, what is this? And he's like, dude, I know, man, this is crazy. And I go, no, you're crazy. You're the one that was back there. You weren't here before. You don't get to tell me, wow, this is crazy. You just showed up. So we bailed and watched the rest of the match at a soccer loving baseball pizza joint that was right back near Dodger Stadium, which is where I originally started the day. So anyway, long story short, Tim, soccer is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, LA's crazy too. Like, it can be super cool, but if you try to make a whole crowd of people sit down in LA, that's how you start a riot. Like, that's how stuff pops off in LA. You gotta just chill and roll with it, man.
I have always been of the mindset you go and work with the tools or the settings that you are given. So it's totally fine. But then maybe 25 minutes later, the very adorable MC comes out and he's just like, people, it's getting crowded out there. We need everybody to not get it more crowded or it'll be a problem. And I'm like, are you going to say we're going to shut it down? Because And then I started thinking out loud, Tim. I was like, wait, how is this our fault? Like, you can't get up in the middle of a soccer game where everybody's already been waiting for a long period of time and then tell them, like, right, you guys better spread out. This one, you guys really messed up. And I go, did we or did you? Because I just showed up. Y'all could have stopped me at any time. So
yeah,
it was a lot. But nonetheless, I did love it for a little bit. The festivities were cool. The camaraderie was cool. But I will tell you one thing, though. The second I saw the adorably nice Korean fans behind me leave, I was like, nah, this is like a disaster movie. If they leave, we should go.
Yeah, right. That's the omen. When the nice family behind you is like, okay, we're going to go now. It's getting a little hectic for us. That's the sign. If you don't leave, then it turns into Final Destination and something terrible happens.
Notice I haven't mentioned any subject that has a spot on the board. Learning and self-control is occurring. That's true. We haven't gotten there yet on those areas. But I would argue most of the time you don't bring up anything on the board when you address the PGF qualifiers, which are coming up very soon. We'll get to that topic shortly. All right, let's go ahead and start this. Freedom 250 was an interesting event. Did it hit the numbers it promised? Nowhere near. Were they good numbers? Absolutely. Would they be even better numbers if people had not defied expectations to a point Where they would say they would reach Super Bowl status, that's to be debated. But there was one particular moment that caught jiu-jitsu people by storm as Josh Hokett seemed to be trolling people with this armbar attempt on Derek Lewis. Tim, what is it that you took away from this incredibly weird moment in a fight that was really not supposed to happen?
I don't even know. I have so many questions about that fight in the first place, Raf. We know Josh Hokett, he beats Derek Lewis. All the internet wants to talk about is the armbar attempt. But even on top of that, what happened to Derek Lewis? It looks like Derek Lewis has been in hibernation for the last 4 months and literally just rolled off the couch and was like, oh, I think I got a fight today at the White House. Like, I'm going to go down there and do it. I've never seen him. I've seen him get tired, but I haven't seen him be tired with that kind of posture. But on the same side of it, Josh Hokett, is he just like, I'm trying to figure out, is he can't be drunk. They're testing you, but is there something like off with him? Because the whole fight, he's just like, and I've seen him fight before. He's just like, he's like a dude who's hearing voices, but he can also kick your ass at the same time. Right. And which is, maybe that's entertaining to people, but this armbar in and of itself, Raf, was criminal. It was bad angle, bad timing, wrong placement of the hip. This is so bad. You know, kids divisions are known for being real quick on the arm. Like, the ref will stop. As soon as that arm straightens out, the ref's like, stop, tap, doesn't matter how clean it is. That's it. We're not going to let you get your arm broke. Not even the kids division would have stopped this armbar. Like, his legs were crossed. He even looked off to the side as if to say, like, I don't really know exactly what it is I'm doing. So my question, and I don't know, I didn't look this up. I almost don't want to know, but is this guy ranked in jiu-jitsu? And if he is of any rank, even if it's just stripes on a white belt, do we demote him for that attempt? Because that armbar was, it was terrible. I wanted to vomit watching the armbar. It was very, very bad, Raf.
Thank you for that, Tim. All right. So while we were watching the event, one of my students said, hey, man, he's trolling us. And I said, why? He's like, dude, it's for clout. Like, he's doing it to, like, make a scene and make something, like, really cool. And I go, why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just win the fight? You're winning the fight. Just be done. But instead, you have to create a viral moment because that's the hellscape that we're in right now. Who is this for? I get that a lot of people in jiu-jitsu created memes, but it's to laugh at its ineffectiveness. Not exactly say, like, man, that was a cool moment. If anything, everybody's saying, like, that's not an armbar. Here's what an armbar looks like. So when I tried reasoning with him, I said, well, maybe he's not trolling us. Maybe he just sucks at an armbar. They're like, nah, man, I know his intention. I go, see, I feel like that's where all of this is bad. I feel like everybody jumps the logic and says, I can interpret this. Help me figure this out, everybody. So it just begs the question, who is this for? Is it for a group of incredibly dumb people who didn't know this was a mismatch to begin with? Was it for a group of people who like having a little bit of showmanship, even when you're watching a fight that just looks rough? Hokett clearly was outclassing him. You could have told yourself that months ago when you saw his last fight and Derek's more recent trajectory, one might say. Now, somebody in this comment section says, I think Lewis was injured beforehand. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that would have played much of a factor. I think Hokett is on a very good rise. The real key is that Hokett then does this hide behind where he says, I'm playing a character. Okay, Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis, what is this character? Because to the rest of us, this just looks like you're doing a riff on Adam Sandler and his shtick of humor in the early 90s. But Adam Sandler had writers and people to help him craft it. Some incredible, really very funny people who made somebody look that stupid. I don't think you have any writers because it looks pretty bad. And yet, in this day and age, that is kind of what we're rewarding. People want to be entertained. They want to have stupid moments. So the real key here is, I would say this. He then brings in a line about Michelle Obama, which just begs the question, again, who is this for? There was a lot of talk about it, and I feel like it gets somewhat taken out of context because then you get political people who are going to say political stuff. And it's really rough for an organization like the UFC that says this is not a political event, where, okay, it's in the White House and they invited a bunch of people there who are sympathetic, at the very least, to their cause. And it's for a president whose birthday party we're really doing it for, not even for like America 250. That's almost like a byproduct. So there's a lot that you could take this out for. But then saying Michelle Obama is a man is a very strange sentence. Like, it meant that you had to watch those kind of shows to make that joke go. And apparently he said it before at another event and it didn't get a response. So for a not political event, picking somebody who has nothing to do with the event, who by and large is pretty popular, and that there is this sort of weird joke that works to the dumbest of dumb, I think maybe Josh is telling you the audience that he does speak to, which is just above coma. That's the sense of humor we are aiming for. Not fully in coma, because they wouldn't have a response to it, but like just above it where maybe they know their own name. I feel like that's the group of people it's for. So for all of you who are aiding and abetting this, it will continue to go. The reason we bring it up, it's part of the coverage. Didn't really speak out to me one way or another in terms of excitement. I thought he had a great fight. He's a solid fighter. And for him getting up and saying the next day, well, I'm playing this character. No, dude, you're not. At a certain point, this character that you think you are portraying, you are what we call living the gimmick. Go look that up. Anyway, that's what I have. He's playing Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So remember how I said people will take this and come up with interpretations that they feel that they've solved the riddle, but in actuality have made it more convoluted? That's a perfect example. You think that he's playing Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, Hacksaw was a beloved person who just, in his love of America, would clothesline the shit out of people. This is not the same thing. And Hacksaw was never this dumb. Lovable, not that dumb. Dumb, sure, sometimes, but fun. Anyway, Tim, let's go over a few things about this whole UFC 250 thing, because it was a big event and there were some wins, but I think it is important that we kind of go over just in terms of what happened for you. How did you take the event as a whole?
Maybe Holkett has diabetes. Maybe he's just like black. Maybe he can't think straight when he fights. It's just, I don't know. Overall, I mean, it was a spectacle and I enjoyed watching the spectacle. I thought the production was kind of cool. Like I liked the walkouts. It was a little bit much. Like, okay, I'm not like a super traditional American in the sense that I'm not upset about them doing it, but it was a little bit of like, why are we having Sugar Sean or Sugar Shane, whatever his Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean, why are we having him walk out of the White House? Just like, why is Hokett warming up in the Lincoln bedroom? Like, why is this dude? For me, that was a little bit like, wow, that's kind of crazy to see. Fight wise itself, I thought the fights were pretty darn good. Obviously, the main event was fantastic. I enjoyed watching Cyril Gahn's performance. So the fights were good. I definitely wouldn't want to see more than one. I think that's it. One and done. You did it. Maybe 50 years from now you do 300, but otherwise it starts to look more like a political rally than it looks like an event if you keep repeating it. And so that's politics aside, that's just kind of my thing. But it's kind of cool in the sense that I love jiu-jitsu and I love fights, and the UFC was such a off TV, behind the scenes thing that people weren't into, and now it's at the White House. So that's kind of cool for mixed martial arts, I should say.
What I would say is this. You are right in the progression of UFC as this entity. I think that is pretty cool. However, Gagey staring down the Declaration of Independence before walking out and taking out Tapuria was sick. That man can't read. What are we talking about here?
Dude, he can't read at all, especially cursive, that old school writing. He can't read that shit. Are you kidding?
Okay, part one. Part two. There's no need to use a White House like that. Like, if you really take this at base level, you turn the White House into a locker room.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird codes about flags, too, that I don't think people read. So it's a lot of confusing, this is what's happening sort of element to it. In some ways, yes, it does feel very trashy to have these elements. But are we happy that these athletes get the unforeseen ability to do this? Absolutely. Now, why were some of the matches good? Well, because they were designed to be mismatches to give you finishes. The main two were going to be your most competitive ones. So your main event and your co-main event, and that's where magic happens. And those were very interesting and captivating fights. But I want to get into the ratings. Okay. Here's something we should talk about. You cannot go on air trying to promise people you're going to get Super Bowl ratings and then expect us not to talk about the ratings. In fact, my whole conceit this whole time was Netflix was going to outdraw this, if only that they had a larger subscriber base than Paramount. And Paramount shortened their ability to go even broader by putting it on linear television. If they had put it on CBS for free, you might have had even more people tune in and really raise the bar. But they're really trying to sell you on Paramount Plus because they think that is the future. And it might be a short-term solution, because think about this. If you ordered this event and you know that the next one is Conor McGregor within that month's time, maybe you keep your subscription for a month. So there is kind of a reason for this madness. Having said that, Joe Rogan was saying that they got calls and there was close to 150 million people who at least tuned in. Those are absurdly ridiculous claims if you think about them at base, but it's not uncommon for Joe Rogan to spit misinformation on his show. The real key is people who listen to him and take it as truth. You've already done the campaign that you need to influence their brains. The realistic version that we have so far right now is 17 million people tuned in to watch some portion of the UFC event, which by any other metric, a win. You know what else hit 17 million? Ronda Rousey. And this is where I feel it's getting weird, because now you have people trying to minimize the event that MVP did. And yes, it was kind of a circus in its own right, but it still got 17 million people. And its US average beat the White House card average, both of which were numbers I called. I said, I think Ronda is probably in the neighborhood closer to 10. We got about there. And I said that the UFC was going to do about 7 million tops. Why did I come up with that number? Logically. Their biggest card previously was going to be the Joaquim Dos Santos fight versus, JDS. I have a friend named Joaquim Dos Santos, so I'm sorry if I mix that up. JDS fight, Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez that did 5.8 million views, which is great. Still didn't beat the CBS record of, I believe it's the Kimbo Slice and the Dada, somewhere in there. That's about
5,000.
That's ranked
wild.
very highly. And guess where it was airing, Tim? Any guess what network aired that?
CBS did.
CBS did. So it stands that they
right?
probably lost some people there in that world. So for all this hype, all this whole thing that we're talking about, there's one really important metric that I think probably got sideswagged. Yes, Ronda Rousey did outdraw it. But if you ask me, when they take that long to do ratings, they know. They're just trying to pump it up. I'm going to guess, and I don't know anything officially here, I bet you on Tuesday morning, they found out it was somewhere closer to 13 million. And then Dana White got on a computer himself for the next 4 days and was like, play. We got 2 days to get this up. 4 million more views. They are going to look under every rock and they're going to release a projected later version of what they drew. But let's talk about it at base value. If that many people, 17 million people, at some point tuned in and watched this UFC event, that is showing the progression of the UFC. It being at the White House is a majorly hyped event that will help it grow. The next question is, how many people stick around? Were there people who were turned off by this? I bet you there might be. Were there people who were sick of it being politicized? God, for the love of God, just get it out. Please stop doing this shit. But how many of those people stick around? Because I almost feel after the Conor McGregor fight, I would love to see the quarterly analysis of how many people drop their subscriptions, because I think that's coming next. But what have I known? I've only gotten everything right so far. All right, Tim, let's move on to our next topic that we can hopefully start to go out a little bit further from the world of the UFC. But it looks like some resolution has happened in that Atlanta ADCC Open. Non-organizer, but still important person at ADCC, Mo Jassim, released a statement providing some more clarity on the situation. Tim, what exactly did Mo say in his statement?
So this was the Atlanta Open event, incident, fight, brawl, the ball kick heard around the world that we had as fight of the week, maybe last week or the week before. I can't remember exactly. The incident came from Anthony Odell Jr. and Carlos Sainz. It was the finals. Odell was having a good day, and Carlos Sainz. Carlos was supposed to be like, he was on a serious run. He looked good. Of course, they get into the squabble. There's some name calling. There's some below the belt kicks, and then the crowd gets in, and it goes massively crazy. And ADCC was kind of quiet on it. You didn't hear anything, not too much, right? And then Mo Jassim recently came out. He issued a public statement, and I gotta say, I was kind of like winding up, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this guy. But then I read it, I thought about it, and I think maybe this is one time where Mo, he took a pause and he looked left and he looked right and he thought, man, is Craig Bugs Bunny Jones around? Is he distracted before I go on the internet? And he just hit it just right and just said just enough and then got out and didn't give too much ammunition to his detractors. More or less, what it boils down to is both athletes are suspended indefinitely, but they're going to review the case in 6 months. I believe Carlos voluntarily stepped away from ADCC Opens. So, it's a big message, I think, where they're saying, like, look, at a certain point, we're going to have to protect athlete safety and just the integrity of the event, the sportsmanship, the professionalism. Like, you can't just totally let that slide out of the window for views and likes and reposts and shares and all that, because ultimately that'll be the downfall of your organization. So I actually thought it was a good move. I did think it was funny that he said, like, I consider this case resolved, just because it's just funny hearing Mo say that, Raf. But overall, I think they handled it okay. I give them a B for it.
Okay, this is more than fair. I appreciate that they took time to analyze it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a few before you make a big statement. I think that has been sometimes ADCC's downfall, is they just kind of go, this sounds good. Uh-oh. That didn't turn out well.
Send it. Yeah.
But this is one of those areas where I think we can have some sympathy for the organization, because I don't think they orchestrated it.
No.
Heated tempers are not necessarily going to always be their fault. So you do have to look at it from the situation where you say, yeah, I would be sympathetic. You didn't do that. You have to deal with some fallout. Obviously, teams feel a certain way. They get really riled up, and then you have to deal with it. So nobody would want to have to deal with that. I do love reading the assessment, which is they're not banned for a length of time per se, but they will revisit it like it's now going to bullpen court.
That sounds like some Gestapo stuff. Like,
Well,
we're not sentencing you, but you are going to be locked up. We're going to revisit this later.
You will not get to do the ADCC until we say you are ready to get back. Are you ready? Are you nice now, or are you unkind? If you are unkind, we will not let you slam someone outside the confines of a gym onto the concrete. We will wait the appropriate amount of time before. Actually, he's getting more French now, so I gotta bail on it. I don't do too many German accents, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just think this. It might be right in time for UFC BJJ anyway, so I don't know how much this impacts people. They'll find another tournament. I don't know what this does. When they say it doesn't affect you, yeah, you can't qualify for ADCC outright, the Worlds, so you can just sit this one out. It doesn't affect your trial status, so they could be right back in the mix for the next trials. Yeah. I would just tell you this, Tim. I feel like on this one, benefit of the doubt to ADCC. I hope these young men get some time to relax and to figure out their stuff. It's a very difficult situation because what do you do? Like, in this situation, if you're them, sometimes you get into an altercation, but you do need time to learn from it. And I think it's a good stepping stone for the organization to say, hey, there are real repercussions if you get into a fight outside of the fight you have. You have time to go up against each other. That's the whole point of competing in a combat sport. You get a chance to go after one another. So hopefully it has resolved itself, and I think we have resolved our time on this one. Why don't we move on to our next topic? Oh boy. Well, speaking of brawls, they are not conclusive to just ADCC. It turns out Real American Freestyle also had a brawl. And stop me if you're surprised by this, but it might have involved Dylan Dennis. Tim, what happened there?
I'm starting to believe that Dylan Dennis works for the CIA, and they send him out just to be a provocateur. Everywhere this guy goes, a fight ensues. So Dylan Dennis meets up against Cosmot, I'm sorry. For the Kamzat, excuse me. And this is for the RAF 10. This is the main event at Real American Freestyle 10. And, Kamzat is not the kind of guy to be messed with either. So they meet up in the finals. Kamzat handles him. Danis kind of like does this faux guillotine thing. And then all hell breaks loose. The commentary team is going wild. The stage is getting rushed. There's a scrap. And this isn't the first time that we've seen this at Real American Freestyle. In fact, Raf, this isn't the first time we've seen this. This is a well-known wrestling ending called a pull apart. And I'm not saying that Eric Bischoff is orchestrating this, but I'm also not saying that he's discouraging it. Like, this is a classic ending in pro wrestling, and it's happened twice now on Real American Freestyle. So it's just got me curious. I'm going to wait on if I actually think they're doing this on purpose. I need a little bit more data. I want to see a few more events. But look, if there is a ref bump at RAF 11 and somebody else jumps in and does the match, then we're going to know that the fix is in, something's going on. But so far, look, it was a great event. RAF is doing a masterful job of just walking the line of freestyle, competitive wrestling, and pro wrestling entertainment. They're just kind of walking that, or maybe they're finding it. Maybe they're the first organization that has competitive sports that's actually finding that entertainment line from pro wrestling. They're doing a damn good job of it. The matches were wildly entertaining. I do think Dylan Danis needs to find another shtick. Like, if ultimately, eventually, like, you can only pull off the I'm going to show up and we're going to get in a big giant fight. That you can only pull that off so many times before you stop getting the phone call. But kudos to him, man. He's figuring out how to get on TV, and he's entertaining some people, at least, Raph.
Okay. Well, the Hokit fans, just to let you know, there is a retirement plan. Speaking of retirement plan, I guess the real question I have for Dylan Danis, what do you expect to do as you get older? People think this is kind of cute when you're young, but if you're 48 showing up to the soup plantation and doing this shit, I don't know that people really have a space in their heart to indulge this, because I don't know what this is. What it is to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Tim, sometimes when you're a con artist and you're young, people let you off the hook because you're young. We're just like, oh man, this kid doesn't know any better. He's just doing some silly stuff. He's had a hard upbringing. This kid, oh man, he's going to grow into adult. No, they do grow into adult, but sometimes they don't change their habits. And as they get older, it becomes less adorable, one might say, or less lenient. So, Dylan, what are you going to be doing when you're 55? Because what is the long-term progression? At some point, you age out of the world of competing in martial arts in this spectacular fashion. So then what? Are you with a walker and you're doing the help I fell down? Give me $100. Are you doing some other schemes? Like, what is the next step? Because at a certain point, you have to figure. Tim just mentioned you've gone from organization to organization and kept people interested with some of these antics. But I do wonder if you're running out of organizations to do this at. The UFC wants nothing to do with you. RAF probably wants to keep you around, not because of your wrestling, but because of your antics. Possibly. We'll see. But if you become more trouble than you're worth keeping, then there is a premium on like, hey man, this dude was a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. And I can't name one jiu-jitsu organization that's like, we need to put him on a card. Maybe it's because they can't afford him. But I do wonder, perhaps start thinking of the long-term game, if I was you.
Yeah, Danis is, I think, a talented athlete that somehow took the Conor McGregor hype train idea, right? Tried to create his own, didn't exactly play out the same way, but is like committed. He's not pulling back, man. At least he shows up and does what you think he's going to do. He's predictable. But yeah, it will get old, man. A 55-year-old Dylan Dennis pulling this kind of stuff's not going to play well.
I don't know. We'll see. Because I think the other thing we don't know is how these organizations age with certain athletes that, how do I put this? Don't seem to age naturally. I wonder if we will see some of these guys, like Lovato's going to be in some sort of stage forever. I've accepted that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then there are going to be your super serum Captain Americas out there that maybe they're still competing. Like Yoel Romero probably still be at RAF 29.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, let's move on to our next topic. And if you are Egg, you have been patiently waiting for this one. PGF 10 is coming up, and there are some big announcements, including for those of you who ask myself, Tim, Egg, Stephen Aiken, Brandon McCatherine, Keelan Lawyer, Isaac, Stackhouse, any one of us on a regular occasion, which is, but how do I, a person who does not pay attention, get involved with the PGF? Tim, how do I, a person who does not pay attention, suddenly become somebody in the PGF?
Yeah, it was wild. Last time we talked about this, I literally got a text just moments before that, somebody asking me, hey, man, when's the next qualifier? How do I get in? So look, a couple ways to get in so far have already been published. We mentioned the July 25th Colorado Wolverines qualifier at High Altitude Martial Arts Center in Denver. You got to get registered for that. I believe all the weight classes are open in that event. August 8th was recently announced. These are the Carolina Copperheads. This is the 185-pound qualifier. You show up. You win the qualifier, you earn a spot for the draft. And if you don't win, the cool thing about it is if you put on a show and you bring a personality and you bring your energy to it, you have a good chance of potentially getting a call up. We've seen that happen every single season now. So if you are a serious grappler and you want to get your name out there and you believe in yourself and you're ready to get your skills off, then you should go to one of these qualifiers and see what you can do, man. That's the way to do it. I'm stoked for it that PGF, they're setting the stage for a Big Ten. And I've been thinking about it, Raf, and I could be wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I think like yourself, I'm a man that's mostly right. And I believe season 10 is going to be the new season 6. It's going to be the new change. We're going to 8 full teams. We're going to 2 fights a week. Serious qualifiers playing out beforehand. We're early for the qualifiers. So pretty cool stuff, man. I'm stoked for 2027 season 10, Raf. And I'm also happy to make Egg's day. It makes me feel good to make Egg feel good.
Good.
We got to play good cop, bad cop. We got to do it.
Do we? I feel like this is a double bad.
I mean, we do. I like Egg. I love him. He's a lovable guy.
We all like Egg. It's not a matter of liking or disliking. It's a matter of, Egg, you're storming the comment section like it's January 6th. And it says, that's right. The next step in the evolution. All weight classes. Only 5 spots left at 170.
Okay.
Yo.
That's it. I don't like him anymore.
I have to be honest, though. That's pretty telling. Only 5 spots for 170? Good Lord. And I can't tell you guys this enough. When you hit me up like you should be involved, that does not necessarily mean you will get the call. There are a lot of talented jiu-jitsu people. You have to be showing out consistently. You have to be networking. You have to secure your spot. And the best way you can do it is by putting on a show at these qualifiers. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Because if you do, You leave it up to us. You're like, hey, Raf, could you put in a good word? No. Brandon knows plenty. That's not my fight. That's not my organization where I run it. I don't have final say. What I have is the ability to say, hey, have you seen this guy? And a lot of times they've had eyes on very good people. So the real key for us is, what are you doing to further the cause? If you don't do anything to further the cause, my recommendation will not go far. So get out there, consistently be a presence, do as many qualifiers as you can, because if you continue to put on a show and they see that you're really out there, maybe you do get an invite. But things are going to be very drastically different now that there are multiple weight classes. So you have to figure that the number that they used to have in the past may not be the number that they do have currently. So the needs change. And maybe if you're somebody who can go between weight classes, that might actually be a benefit or a help. I don't know. I don't know how the rules are written. So get off me. It would just stand logical. Somebody who is versatile is more lucrative to a team. That's all. Anyway, that's fun. Let's move on to our next topic. This one is BBBB. So, the quadruple B. And it says, black belts behaving badly. Tim, who in their right mind would ever think a black belt would ever behave badly? And can you please expand on that and let us know who specifically has been? Because actually there's a number of them and it gets confusing to follow which one every week.
Yeah, a couple of them whose names did not hit the jiu-jitsu trash rag news cycle that I adore so much, to be quite honest with you. Black belts behaving badly. We got a story out of Hawaii from 4-time world champ Penny Thomas. She recently appeared in court, pleaded not guilty after an alleged assault connected to a dispute. Get this, over baby ducks, Raf. And I gotta tell you, I watched the video on it. It's not the video of the fight, but I watched the news video about it. So essentially, Thomas is accused of punching an off-duty officer, a Maui police lieutenant, which is it's bad to punch a cop. It's bad to punch an off-duty cop. It's really bad to punch a lieutenant. The courts don't look on that super nicely typically. The dispute started over these little baby ducks. There's some kids, and I believe these are Penny Thomas's kids who were in the neighborhood. There's some little baby ducks. They wanted to play with the little chickadees. They were, talking to them, feeding them. I don't know if they were touching them. I didn't get, they didn't say that. And the people that were at the house where the ducks were kind of crossing and walking around alerted the kids, hey, probably shouldn't handle the ducks. They're babies. They're very, very sensitive. And we want to make sure the mom doesn't abandon the ducks. I don't know if ducks do that. I know you're not supposed to mess with baby birds because the mom might reject them. I have no idea. As far as that family was concerned, that was the end of the story. But apparently, allegedly, Thomas came back to the house, confronted the homeowners, and then got into an altercation with the off-duty police lieutenant. Was on top of her, striking her several times. The lieutenant said, hey, I'm an off-duty cop. Allegedly, Thomas said, I don't care if you're a cop, and basically put the beat down on her. Man, crazy story, first of all. I've met Penny Thomas years ago. She was very active in the scene years ago. A little shocked to see that. I don't know if there's more to the story, but it sounds insane, to be honest with you. It sounds quite crazy. The other black belt that was behaving badly is a total separate incident. This is a dude who, over in the UK, went out drinking alone, had too much to drink, got into a dispute with one of the staff at the restaurant, got cantankerous enough that the UK constables on patrol were called. They came into the facility, the fine establishment, And then he tussled with these cops and got into it with them. They were throwing hands. And then he announced himself as a jiu-jitsu black belt, only to be promptly beaten down by the police, arrested, and taken to jail. He was sentenced to, yeah, listen, man, don't fight the cops. They're going to win. He's taken to jail. He was sentenced to, I believe they said he got 3 months jail, 6 months of probation after that, or 18 months, and then he had to pay a fine. But he probably got off a lot better than what it could have been. So yeah, man, black belts behaving badly. There's more. Crone Gracie fired back at Hoffa Mendez and said Hoffa told him at ADCC that he was on steroids, and kind of did it in a way that he expected Hoffa to be, or he expected Crone to be like, yeah, me too. Like, it was like a private conversation. And Crone said he just looked at him like, what? And then that was the end of it. And Hoffa walked off. Don't know if that's true, but Crone recently came out and said that. So there's some bad behavior, man.
So let's stick on this Hoffa and Crone thing. This is interesting because now we're just having to go off of personal testimonials that we have no connection to. What do you think Hoffa said to Crone that would have made Crone think that? Like, take a second. Try to think in your head. Was it an inference? Was it a flat out? Oh, most definitely. What do you think he said?
I think it probably was like this. I don't think he came straight out and said I'm on steroids. I think what he did is he probably went, can I ask you a question? Okay. If you were to inject something into your buttocks, would you use a 1/2-inch needle or would you use a 2-inch needle? Because you're like, there's a lot of, meat back there. And I was just kind of wondering, like, what would you do, say, if you were going to do something like that?
I have a few thoughts. The first one of which was him coming up and saying, like, after a match, maybe at ADCC, being like, whoo, that was pretty good. Imagine if I did that not on steroids. Am I right? Oh, no. Like, that was one. Another one is where I thought he might have just been like, God, dude, this stack they got me on is so interesting. I love learning new languages, and I'm on a stack of books that I'm reading right now. Yup, that's what I'm on. Or was there something even wilder where the two of them get into a conversation and Rafa just doesn't beat around the bush, and maybe Crone was like, dude, do you want to get some lunch right now? Do you want to get a coffee? I'm on steroids. Okay, well, no getting around that. Guess you are. I've been trying to figure out what that exactly is, because whenever somebody says somebody told them something like that, and it's from 17 years ago, unless they explicitly said it, sometimes it's left to interpretation. And, Crone did not say he saw Rafa doing it. So now we really get this told all these years later, which meant that Crone was sitting on this information for almost 2 decades and thought, nah, all right, fine. He said it. Moore was accused and said no. Should correct the record. I don't know who to believe in this, Tim. This is wild because it does taint a little bit of the legacy to a lot of people, and other people who are Gordon Ryan fans, they don't care because, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
That would mean Gordon isn't good at jiu-jitsu if you have to say steroids can't be involved.
Yeah, I think ultimately the only way you can actually take his record away or anything, like if that was the case, is if they have a sealed result of a failed drug test. And if they don't, then it's just all speculation. And for as much as they want to talk, whether he did steroids or not, he and his brother, and I'm sure they had lots of help and great resources, but they've built a pretty great academy, a strong school, great jujitsu. You know, it's not as if they only did all of that because they used steroids. Like those guys were already pretty good coming up. Did it help them if they did use it? Well, probably, but what are we going to do about it now? That's literally so long ago. You're right. It's kind of like
how sinister. Tim, we put it through bullpen court.
Yeah,
we put them under
go.
trial. We make them justify it. We make them talk. I don't know, dude. You're right. I feel like some of these things are past the statute of limitations. Like we are now in a world where it's like, oh, because that's the part to me that sucks about the lack of an evil villain in this, is that if Rafa came out and said, I did do it and there's nothing you can do about it, I'd be like, damn, he got us. But instead we get a lot of, I didn't do it at all. And I find that accusation to be inaccurate for that era. Don't ask me about a different year. Or they're just so vague. It's like, I've never taken steroids. It's like, well, if we found out you did, that would negate that whole sentence, right? And Crone, for all of his all over the place, certain people have certain codes that they do live by. So for him, it might be a code of like, nah, this dude's full of shit and is lying. So that's why it's so difficult to really come up with a perspective being a person on the outside. So I don't know that we've learned anything new, but it definitely did put a cloud over it, because we put an episode out just last week where we're like, hey, I guess he cleared that up. He said he didn't. We'll have to take him at his word. And Crone goes, not so fast. I know the truth. That dude did steroids. And we're like, which is it? Can you guys coordinate this? Get your PR teams together to figure this shit out.
Let's get a comeback match between Crone and Hoffa. They've never had an ADCC match. Let's do that. Let's get them both. Let's have it at the enhanced games. The enhanced games jiu-jitsu super fight. Crone, Gracie, Hoffa, Mendez.
Can you imagine at the enhanced games they do a special match, like a one-off match that they go, these two dorks on the sauce, so take that. In a few years, Rafa will write a book, If I Did Do Steroids. Listen,
that's actually pretty good, egg.
I think that's reserved for people who maybe might have done more stuff.
They're just copping to the steroids because it's the less of all their evils.
Also, I don't think they're that hard up for money. Defense lawyers for about a good 2-year trial might do that for you, especially when they are there. And it says maybe at PGFX. Listen, that sounds like a lot of money to book that one. So I would rather that money goes to us and our staff.
Hey.
So no, thank you.
For our steroids.
Yes. Let's move to our next topic. This one is about Bounced. And Bounced says, yes, Mayweather now faces another felony. I wonder how hard it is to change the nickname from Floyd Money Mayweather to Floyd Felony Mayweather. I digress. Tim, what new news about the esteemed boxing legend do we have?
A couple things. One is he just announced that he's going to be fighting in Greece. He's coming back, which tells me he needs money. Now, the insane thing about this is Floyd allegedly purchased a watch. Maybe it was more than one. The article seemed to indicate that it was one watch, which is absurd to me. For $200,000, he wrote a check for this watch, drafted from a Wells Fargo bank account that apparently did not have $200,000 in it. The check was written to the Fine Las Vegas Jewelry Establishment and pawn shop, Golden Beyond, not to be confused with its sister company, Bath and Beyond. What is Mayweather doing at Golden Beyond? This is a guy that's so rich. He has so many bank accounts. He don't even know which one. He probably didn't even know he was going to have to write a check for it that day, and he just got whatever. It was from 23 years ago, or he didn't even care that there was no money in it. I'm so rich, I can take care of this 4 years later and pay 10 times the amount in legal fees. I don't really care. But, bro, I looked up Golden Beyond because I'm like, I got to see what this place looks like. It's basically a gigantic glamorized pawn shop in Las Vegas. And it's just I don't know what's going on with him. If it was an investment, like, man, I buy watches with all my money and then the value goes up. That way I can earn some money on my money. But no, I don't think you're going to Golden Beyond to do that. So Mayweather is coming back to boxing. He's facing felony charges, and he's got a lot of fancy watches. He doesn't seem to be hurting for money, but I don't get it, Raf. Like, you're either so rich that $200,000 is like $2 to you, or you have a hardcore problem. I can't figure out which one it is with Mayweather.
Can I propose something here, Tim?
Yes, please.
I think we have to take the nickname Money out of his name. If we see somebody at a pawn shop that has the moniker Money in their nickname, on hold. The bank of RAF ESPARZA, am withholding your nickname for the time being, because I don't think you would have to box unless you needed money. And I think you live a pretty extravagant lifestyle. I wish that you would put money away. Maybe this is all a big joke, but why are you at a pawn shop? And also, don't rich people have better pawn shops than this?
That's what I would think.
Like, don't you just do like an auction? Isn't that what rich people do? They're just like, do an auction, do an estate sale, do something where you can do it in a classy way, as opposed to being like, hey, yo, how much can I get for this Fabergé egg? And they're like, sir,
pull up.
Well, this is the 4th Fabergé egg that has come in here. Allow me to look at this. Oh, yes, this looks like you won this from a dictator out in Russia or the nether regions. Well, the best I can do for that is $250. Will that suffice?
Yeah. Well, I looked up on the internet. It said it's worth $2.5 million.
They just get the Google glass. They just put it up again. They're like, this thing says you got it from a McDonald's Happy Meal. Can do $20 for that one. So there you go. All right. Well, Floyd, we wish you well. I thought the whole reason you wanted to keep a legacy intact with the 50-0 was so that you wouldn't have to box and do other stuff, because you had made so much money. And boxing, they pay you so much more. It really does make you appreciate all the UFC fighters who have had to be good with their money and have done okay. Because if you were given Floyd Money Mayweather money and you were still going through rough times, at least you had a shot. You can't say the same for every UFC fighter. So I digress. Tim, let's move on to this week's highlight of the week. What can you tell us about this week's fight that you have selected for us?
All right. So I pulled 3 fantastic fights for us this week. It's a montage. We're starting out on the White House lawn. So if you watch the fights, you would see the domed, the Thunderdome White House weird canopy thing with the octagon, but then they would show another section that was like a big grassy area with a huge jumbo screen, a bunch of people watching on this screen. There's a nice little fist fight that breaks out at that setting, and there's a run-in, and these are the most solid body shots I've seen a lady throw in a long time. Keep your eyes out for that. And then we jump to a theater. There's some very funny things. You just got to pay attention to that scene in and of itself. It's not very long. Again, the great police are involved. And then we got the third scene, which involves one of our own, the great Landon Elmore and his girlfriend putting a beat down on an alleged creeper in the grocery store while the NPC shoppers literally just stand around and look for Dinty Moore extra beefy soup. So it's a pretty great set of fights, Raph. I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can watch it in just a little more clarity.
Sure. And just to clarify here, this is Landon and Trinity together?
I'm assuming.
Okay. Because
I don't know Trinity. I don't talk about people behind their back, so
fair.
I'm not sure.
Trinity is great. I didn't know until recently, I think the two of them they're either together or they've been spending time together, but he was tagging her being like, hey, maybe we should have done beating up people earlier, because I think he got 1.5 million viewers as a result of that, which, hey, listen, if you're going to get beat up by two people, how random that you choose to do something where two very prolific jiu-jitsu artists are just on hand.
Whoop your ass.
What a bad bounce for you. Crime. Take that. Why don't we go ahead and look at these in their full 720 capacity? Here we go. Talk us through it, Tim.
So here we go. We got Bubba throwing hands at the White House, coming in, taking guy down after he hits him. Now we got a headlock battle. Old girl's throwing good kidney and liver shots. Headlock man is doing a nice job. Cops rush in. Headlock guy goes, hey, man, he just hit me. Dude, black shirt, catches another right hand right at the end before both dudes are arrested. Cameraman tells the guy that got assaulted, I got you. We jump to the theater. Check out the dude, big boy, who he kind of walks away. He's going to walk back into the scene from the right and just creams old dude, just feeling it. And then he puts his hands up like, okay, I didn't do nothing. I'm going home. The staff push him right into the hands of the police, which I thought was freaking hilarious. I love the hands up, Raph. I'm going to put my hands up. And here is Landon Elmore. They're at the top of the screen, walking down. Ignore the rectangles. And boom, you could see they're rushing the dude. There was a slight altercation. They get into it. Now, my favorite is when they show the side angle. Pay attention to the blue cart. The guy grabs the cart and like slides it out of the way to protect the cart. And then they're just like, yeah, I'm not sure we're going to actually get involved in this fight. I think we're just going to watch.
All right. Well, let's start with a few notes. I can't say if this speaks to the event itself, but this whole viewing party for the White House looks like it's more of a country music gathering. So a fight looking like this isn't too out of space. They look like they're at a Kenny Chesney concert and they couldn't quite get great seats. Here we go. All right. Boom. He forges in. Now he pushes that poor dude. Look at this poor nerd. He gets shocked into a system right as they bump into him. Watch. The person right behind the dude wearing the bass hat. Whoa, what is that? Oh, my goodness.
Cracked. Yeah.
Now, the world's worst takedown. Now, listen. This form. She is cocking the arm all the way back to get maximum damage hit here. And she's targeting the kidneys. She knows one thing, which is just spam, spam, spam. Go. That's the type of person when they get involved in a fight, I'm immediately concerned for them. Because you know a gust of wind might actually change things for her. So, now the police are trying to break things up as what looks like the lead singer from Stained, now on top, not happy about his life. He was split open the hard way. But he was getting a couple shots in, and now the police are saying, like, hey, I don't care who started this, but look at this knee shot, Tim. This knee shot was reminiscent of the fights themselves where they said, hey, listen, I'm going to knee you straight in the thigh, but it might hit your ass.
He got corn dogged. We call that a corn dog in the street.
A corn dogged indeed. Okay, I love the directorial choices you made here, Tim, because the fade lets you know somewhere in a different land, another fight was breaking out. This time in front of the movie theater where Michael Jackson saw
temporary
Thriller.
tattoo shop. Pay attention to the signs in this one. The signs are what makes it.
Okay, let's do this. Now, if you're blind, you might think this is the same bald dude, but bald dudes exist in multi-dimensions. All right, you made a great point here, which is this dude winds up and slides in like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Zord with a limited range of movement. Comes in with one hit, clocks him down. And this dude is down bad, Tim. He is literally face down. Look at this. And
what?
The feet go up a little bit, like the house fell on him in Oz, and you just see like a little bit of like doo-doo. And it is magical to watch. Let's see it again. Hold on. The feet are gonna happen.
Watch dude's footwork that throws the punch. Watch his footwork.
And
it literally looks like he's bowling. He hit him like he's bowling.
Okay, so this is the best. I'm gonna embody the dude who tries to run away from the scene of the crime. Oh yeah, what do you want to talk now? Whoa! I didn't do anything, guys. I didn't do anything. I'm just a tax-paying citizen. What? This could happen to me. I thought this was Trump's America. I thought I was able to do this stuff. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Crime Alley, you may think you're safe, refilling your prescription at your local drugstore. Not today. Not today, my friends. Not when there's crime abound. Look at these people. Actually, not them. Behind them. That's where the action takes place. What you might not know here is Landon Elmore, noted UFC BJJ competitor and PGF legend, attacks this man who was doing something. You had to read the story in his caption, which I did not. But watch what happens when Landon forges ahead with all the power of the gummy bears he has ingested to make something happen. And then watch right behind him as Trinity says, wait, I want to get some too. Watch. Trinity comes in, Landon is throwing down, and Trinity's like, yo, make some space because I'm not letting you punch this guy by yourself. Now, the other angle is straight out of a comedy movie. Like, if you were watching an 80s movie about this is 100% the jump cut that happens in the movie. Because you're literally saying, like, all right, they got this handled. Let's take it from another angle here. And, okay, things are going well. Whoa! He hits the freaking cart. And guess what? You mentioned this dude grabbed the cart. Not for long. Tim, if you have a handle on the cart like this, and there are people getting into a fight, your first thought should probably be to bring it inside that lane. This man says, you know what? These kids are fine on their own.
That's a guy that's watched NCIS. He's like, I don't want my DNA on the scene of this crime. Let it go. Move back away. Not involved. Not me.
I want to shout. I mean, obviously, big props to Landon. Like, this is cool. We love seeing our people help keep the streets safe. But I really want to give the props to Trinity. Look at the speed at which Trinity's like, wait, hold up. Let me get there too. I have never been happier to see somebody being like, oh, I've been waiting for this. Let's go. Yep. Hold on. Knee on belly. Bam, bam, bam. Trinity, A+. This is all we ever asked for in our athletes. And I do love when they do get the security cam footage. By the way, who gave them the security footage? This is a weird world that I'm not used to, where if you beat their asses, can you go to like the store manager being like, yeah, thanks, cool. Can I get that security cam footage though?
I want to clip that. Yeah, man, like, cool. Just tag us in the, can we collab?
Just tag us.
Yeah, man.
Because the other people that I always feel bad for in this situation, see how the red line is on this lady? She's not even a main character. She's just chilling there being like, I was just trying to go to the store and then, oh.
She's
And I
still
love
like,
her look.
she didn't even move her feet. She literally didn't move her feet.
I
She's
think
like,
she's got kids at home, and I don't think that phases moms. I think moms see
No.
that like that's literally a Wednesday. What? But yeah, this other dude, they stare at it for a while, so it does end on them just going like, well, it sucks to suck. Anyway. Well, Tim, I believe we have made it through all the topics. Before we get on out of here, I did want to give you a short little update. Your boy produced a great night of jiu-jitsu matches for the organization I commentate for. So Sparstar, MMA, let me do some jiu-jitsu matches, and I'm happy to report it went very well. They love the matches, and we are going to have more jiu-jitsu at Sparstar, Tim.
Hell yeah, man. It doesn't surprise me, Raf. You're awesome at what you do. You're awesome at everything you do. So good job, my man. That's
very kind of you. I will tell you this, though. The best thing I did was just give a opportunity to some gentlemen who have already done some incredible things, whether it's for Sparstar, for 2 4-man tournaments. So that means 8 dudes. 5 of them have competed for Sparstar, 3 of whom are champions. So when we cast that net out, they sight unseen were like, I'm down. I was like, do you know what it's for? They're like, I don't care. And then I told them, well, it's for Sparstar. And they go, oh, dude, I'm so in. So super happy about that. One of the people who works for me at Subversive, Rich Valdez, ended up winning his bracket. Kid's a monster. He really works his ass off.
Nice.
He's always asking for a match at Subversive. And I have to remind him, you work for me. If you take a match, you don't work for me during that time. Do you understand why I don't want you to take the match? And he's like, dude, I'm down. Okay, cool. Still no. So this was an opportunity I had to give him. Didn't waste a moment of him. Looked great. And then on the other side, Andrew Carvajal, one of the champions of the organization for Sparstar, announced he is going pro after winning. And he did try challenging me to a match. But it was after he won his first match, he had to win a second match. And I'm like, why are you challenging me now? You haven't even won. Like, that's not how this works, dude. Go win the other one, and then maybe you can meet final boss area. But, bro, I don't get out of bed for this sort of stuff. You guys got to pay me to do that. Nonetheless, a great night of grappling, and I look forward to having more. And I will tell you guys this, Tim, and I wanted to get your thoughts before we started to do closing. I put together this Google form. And on the Google form, it says, tell me your name, your weight, your belt, just so I have an idea on how to matchmake, right? There's this one part on there where I say, hey, can you give me a list of 3 matches? Link me to 3 of your matches or some clip that shows your best work in jiu-jitsu. My question to you, Tim, is what would you do if somebody left that blank? Would you still consider them?
No.
Or would you say you didn't fill this out? Too bad.
Minimum requirement. Yeah. Too bad.
Because I got to tell you, one person put Google me and I was like, no, but I don't need to. And also the whole reason I'm asking this is I don't know everybody. I do know a lot of people, but in the event I can match you up, I want to make sure it's evenly matched. And I don't want to be a weirdo searching through 4 different iterations of your name to try and stumble upon what might be a match that you had 10 years ago in a different organization. I don't know, man. I just make it easy for me. I think that's really all it comes down to. So, Tim, what is your appeal? Like, what would you say to those people who leave that part blank for not just me, but for other matchmakers?
I would say this. I would say, number one, you're going to be on a card that's supposed to be entertaining. It means you're going to have to show up at a specific time. You're going to have to do some specific things, and we have to rely on you to be able to do that. So the basic prerequisite is, can you fill out a piece of paper? Can you put your name down? Can you put some URL links down so we can learn about you and build a profile and make you and your appearance better than if we didn't have that? And if you can't do that, then you're an amateur. You're not even amateur. You're not even ready for it. If you can't meet that, if you like Google me, bro, come on. That's like Hollywood. That's playing a Hollywood move when you're out in Oklahoma somewhere. It's like you can't do that, man. You got to freaking you got to meet the minimum bar to at least get the people that are kind of running the show to even trust you. And if you can't do that, then you're probably not serious about it.
Well, it's also just like, hey, man, I'm about to go and bat for you. So I'm going to make a case as to why we should give you the time, and you didn't fill something out. It doesn't help my argumentation. And I'm pretty good at making arguments for people, but if you don't help me, somebody might sneak in after you. They might sneak in before you and have your spot that, granted, you might be great. So it says, going off my experience? No, they can't do that. They try. Listen, Peter knows this world as somebody who's killing it over with Who's Next Grappling. This is a man who's sympathetic to the cause, but really, we're just trying to give these guys opportunities. So the least they can do is just fill out a form. I know it's really dumb and boring, but it does tell me important things to know, like what weight range, what belt, what school, if I'm trying to make multiple schools happen. So anyway, that was just my little thing this week. Thank you to SparStart. Thank you to everybody who made this happen. Big shout out to my man, Rob, who a couple years ago was like, would you do it? And I'm like, in a heartbeat. And when they originally said, like, maybe not now, when they said we want to do it, they did it in a big way. They committed 90 minutes of showtime. And I have news for you. The next one that they want to do, they're willing to commit about that same amount of time. And I might do things a little bit differently. So I would love for you guys to be a part of that. Please apply. You can check. I have a link that I will provide on this clip. But thank you to all 8 boys who showed out that night and really put on a show for us. That was all I could ask. And it looks like there's more opportunities in the future. So there's Love Movement that I'm matchmaking for. There's SparStar MMA. And maybe another thing coming up maybe as soon as next week. So you want to sign up on that so I have your name and date. Tim, tell the people where they can find you, though, sir, so that way if they want to join in on your fun and festivities, they can seek you out accordingly.
Find me at your favorite social media platform inside BJJ. If you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. In Stockton, go see my boys at 10th Planet Stockton. Raf, great show today. It's great getting with you, man. Really appreciate it. Great takes. I really wanted to hear what you had to say about the White House event. Overall, man, great week, dude. You're the man.
Likewise, Tim, and we should just tell people one last thing before we get you on out of here. This is episode 99. So that means the next time you guys see us, it is episode 100. And Tim and I have been going back and forth on ideas, but we thought one thing we could do is pitch it to you. What do you think we should do for our 100th episode? Pitch it in the comment section. Give us your best ideas. Should we do another roast? Should we bring back old friends onto the show? What is it that you think we should do? But I'll tell you this. I know the board is going to be involved in some way, but maybe a bit or two makes a return. So we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you would like to see for episode 100. And Tim, you are done for the day, sir. I will let you get on out of here. My appreciation to you, my friend. Great show today, sir.
Thank you, man.
All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here. A few quick reminders. First and foremost, like, comment, subscribe. If you made it all the way through and you didn't do those things, you are stealing from us. You are taking free content for literally $0. So I would love it if you guys give us some love and appreciation back. You can also check me out at Grappling Hour on all major social media, including Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You name it, it's everywhere. You can also get some Grappling Hour merch at rafesparza.com/merch. Get you a tank top, a hoodie, a t-shirt, whatever fits your bit. We will send that on out to you guys. And last but not least, check us out on our Discord if you want to continue the conversations that we have here on the show. Oh, and one more thing. I should let you guys know that we did talk to, or at least we mentioned to Kyle in the comment section. Kyle, who did a very similar bit to what I did. He says he's never seen our show before, we'll take him at his word. It is auspiciously similar, but it is something I could see somebody doing as well. So we have no bad blood with him. We have very similar friends. So I'm happy to see that he is continuing to produce great jiu-jitsu content. We wish him all the best. And should he ever want to come on the show, we'd be happy to have him on and have a fun discussion, because that's really what we should do here. So my thanks to you guys who have been very kind and said silly things like, I'll fight him for you. Nobody's fighting anybody. It's not what we're doing. I would train with him. I got no reason to fight him. And I was like, dude, you do know that like he's had an injury from MMA. I don't want to be a dick in that way. And he's like, no, I know, I'm a fan. I was like, well, then why are you offering to fight him in the comment section? Anyway, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you to everybody who watched. Much love and appreciation to you guys. We will see you very soon for our 100th episode. But in the meantime, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.